We've just received a significant update from Tommy Robinson's team, and it raises serious questions about what's really going on behind the walls of HMP Wood Hill. Despite being in complete isolation, under one of the strictest security regimes imaginable, Tommy has reportedly been subjected to treatment that his team are calling not only excessive, but deeply humiliating. So what's actually happening, why now, and how can this possibly be justified? Let's take a closer look at the latest developments. But first, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more. Just a quick one to say we have new Liber t-shirts available on our website. You can check the link in the description or go to BritishStand.com. Despite being held in total isolation, away from all other inmates, Tommy Robinson has reportedly been subjected to what his team are calling humiliating and unnecessary treatment by prison staff at HMP Wood Hill. The controversial political figure, who is currently being held on a segregation wing by himself, has allegedly endured a full strip search, even though access to him is already tightly restricted and monitored to an extraordinary degree. This update, released by his team, has sparked fresh outrage among supporters, who are now questioning how such invasive procedures can be justified under the label of fair treatment. Let's break down what's been reported and what it could mean. According to Robinson's representatives, visiting him at HMP Wood Hill is no small feat. Any individual wishing to see him must first hand over a full set of personal details, name, address, date of birth, and email address, before being subjected to a security regime that wouldn't be out of place at a major international airport. Visitors are fingerprinted, photographed, physically patted down. Their belongings are scanned. They pass through metal detectors. A sniffer dog checks for contraband. All of this just to visit a man who's being held in complete segregation from any other prisoner. And yet, despite all these layers of security, Robinson was subjected to a full strip search. His team reports that his cell was fine-tooth combed, as if prison staff were searching for weapons, contraband, or a hidden phone, even though he is the only inmate in that unit. No contact with other prisoners, no unsupervised interaction, and no opportunity, as far as his team is concerned, to obtain anything illegal in the first place. The search was described as degrading. Robinson was made to strip fully naked, then squat in front of prison staff while they searched thoroughly, treating him, in the words of his team, as if he were a drug lord smuggling in weapons or illegal substances, not a political prisoner in solitary conditions. And here's the part that's sparking the most fury online. Officials maintain he is being treated fairly. That's the word used. Fairly. Supporters of Robinson are asking, how can it be fair to put a man in total isolation, restrict every inch of his communication and contact, and then subject him to strip searches more extreme than those typically faced by violent criminals or gang leaders? The broader concern here is about transparency and accountability. If a high-profile figure like Tommy Robinson can be subjected to this kind of treatment while under the spotlight, what happens to those without a public platform or legal team to raise the alarm? It raises deeper questions about the culture inside prisons like HMP Wood Hill, particularly in high security or segregation units. Why was such a search deemed necessary? What prompted it? Was there intelligence suggesting a threat, or was it simply routine? If it was routine, then why now? Why under these conditions? And if not, what evidence or risk assessment justified the use of such invasive measures? None of that has been made clear by the authorities. Robinson's team are now demanding answers, calling for accountability from both prison staff and the wider justice system. Their argument is simple: this isn't about special treatment, it's about basic dignity. They say that subjecting a man in solitary to this level of intrusion without cause isn't just unnecessary, it's punitive, it's about humiliation. And yet, the official line continues to be that everything is being handled by the book, that this is all standard procedure, that nothing is wrong. But supporters, and even some critics, are beginning to ask, if this is what fairness looks like behind bars, what does injustice look like? Because from the outside looking in, it's becoming harder and harder to make it make sense. In other news, calls for a UK equivalent of the US's Department for Government Efficiency have grown significantly as more and more bonkers, taxpayer-funded projects and contracts are exposed. Tech billionaire Elon Musk was recruited by Donald Trump to head up the department in the US, where one of its first moves was to slash the foreign aid budget to zero almost overnight. World's richest man Musk repeatedly spoke of his shock at some of the projects where American taxpayer dollars were being spent, saying radical left loons had infiltrated the system. Thousands of contracts have since been cancelled, with the cancellation of all DEI projects too, saving the government $105 billion, says Doge. Calls are now growing for the same axe to be wielded against the UK's array of taxpayer-funded aid, research and diversity projects, many of which have dominated headlines over the last few weeks. As Rachel Reeves strips back welfare support for the disabled and freezes universal credit for the unemployed, these projects have angered Britain's population, who feel the Chancellor should cut back the bloated, inefficient state before their support. While Starmer struggles to raise badly needed cash for Britain's dilapidated armed forces after years of underfunding, around £15 billion is being spent annually on overseas aid. Here are 10 of the Barmice projects that have angered Brits so much. £200,000 research project into the lived experience of gypsies. British taxpayers are forking out £200,000 to investigate the needs of the gypsy community in England and Wales. Once they are recruited, researchers will explore culture, identity, needs and interactions with services to ensure gypsies' safety and welfare. Peer researchers will be Roma community members who will conduct in-depth interviews with approximately 60 Roma participants aged 14 and above using creative methods and 4 to 6 focus groups, says the contract. £1.5 million electric vehicle fleet for Albanian prisons. The Foreign Office is spending £1.5 million taxpayer money on a fleet of vehicles to be donated to Albanian prisons. This includes £500,000 on electric Porsches so that Albania can contribute to net zero, 18 minibuses and electric vehicle chargers to the tune of £56,000. £7.3 million renewable energy assistance program in India. Despite having a larger economy than Britain and sending people to space, British taxpayers are funding Indian renewable energy programs. The contract, which was awarded to KPMG, will support India's energy transition and climate goals. The UK government is committed to support India's energy transition and climate goals through this program, deepening our collaboration on climate action, adds the contract. £25,000 tennis court renovation for the British Embassy in Kuwait. As Reeves slashes the amount of support disabled people will receive in Britain, taxpayers were particularly dismayed to learn the government just this month approved a £25,000 tennis court renovation in Kuwait. Taxpayers asked if the Kuwait-based civil servant's ability to play tennis was a government priority when the nation's finances are so stretched, particularly after Google Maps revealed the embassy already has lavish gardens, a swimming pool, and bespoke fitness facilities. £575,000 Jordanian Armed Forces Gender Mainstreaming Strategy. Another contract that raised eyebrows was the Foreign Office bankrolling of the Jordanian Armed Forces Gender Program. Specifically, this contract will deliver technical advice to support the Jordanian Armed Forces JAF Directorate of Military Women's Affairs in assessing implementation of the JF's gender mainstreaming strategy. £15 million climate-smart jobs in Uganda. Critics of Labour's eye-wateringly expensive drive for net zero will balk at the fact the government is also spending £15 million taxpayer money on climate-smart jobs in Uganda. David Lammy's Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office contract will deliver services to support market systems development, which will aim to build resilience to climate change for at least 130,000 Ugandan households through climate-smart agriculture. The contract will also promote transformational change in Uganda's ability to adapt to and mitigate climate change and promote sustainable land management, with innovations likely to enable transformational change in the agricultural sector due to the program intervention. 133,000 Bangladeshi Shrimp Health Project. While pensioners were unable to afford to turn their heating on this winter, the Bangladeshi Agriculture University enjoyed funding to the tune of £133,000 to study shrimp health in the Bay of Bengal, 5,000 miles away. The government defended the project as part of its global efforts to fight climate change. £12 million to help Mauritius access climate finance. Not only will British taxpayers be paying millions to Mauritius to surrender strategic islands of the Chagos, but they are also funding the Pacific nation's efforts to access climate change funding. The Task Force on Access to Climate Finance, as the contract states, is a response to calls from climate-vulnerable countries that access to climate finance is slow, complex, and not of sufficient scale. The UK's money will mobilise finance, strengthen climate policy, drive capacity building, and manage inclusive platforms to coordinate climate finance activities. The shocking revelations of where Britain's tax pounds are going have drawn widespread condemnation. Joanna Marchong, the investigations campaign manager at the Taxpayers Alliance, said, "Taxpayers will begin to question the value of UK research and innovation and its research projects. UKRI has received bigger budgets year on year in hopes of fueling cutting-edge research and innovative technologies, but instead they have wasted millions of pounds on nonsense projects. If research budgets are going to continue to expand, ministers must ensure that they are allocated to effective projects and focus on worthwhile project outcomes." Conservative Shadow Chancellor Mel Stride added, "Given the Chancellor's disastrous budget, it's clear that we must urgently rein in these pointless and eye-watering spending projects to stop further tax rises on hard-working families. The time for reckless spending is over." Pressed on some of the projects, the Prime Minister's spokesperson said, "It is clear that all taxpayers' money should be spent properly. The whole government recognises that, and the upcoming spending review will go line by line through government spending to ensure taxpayers' money is spent with the public's priorities at the heart of it. More generally, we've been clear about our commitment to overseas aid to deliver a more stable world and to deliver security here at home." What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you've not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.